What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? So, Shakur just came out, I guess, a couple of days ago, and he said that he should be coming out with a big fight, like something that's gonna put him into the space where he's, pound for pound, quote, number one in the world, um, and that's coming soon. So some people have kind of said, "Oh, does it have something to do with this lawsuit?" Bob Arum has his lawsuit, so now he's gonna, in order to make himself look good, he's gonna give, Shakur Stevenson, I guess a black fighter, a really big fight to say, "Hey, look, I'm really not racist," or whatever it is. But the reality is, when it comes to Bob Arum would care two ish about that lawsuit. Bob Arum's been getting sued since 1642 by people. This is just another day from today. Is to him is just Friday. That's it, And he's gonna take care of these lawsuits like he's done all these other lawsuits. And like I said before, he's even been sued by the U.S. government as well before, also. So this is not nothing that's new to him, and it's not anything that's gonna make him adjust or change the way that he does things. It's been for a couple of months now where he's been talking about Shakur Stevenson taking on Lomachenko, because there's really nothing he can give like a Lomachenko right now. He can't give him. Teofimo Lopez is moving up, so you can't do a unification when it comes to that. There's no one else at a 135 pounds that is a major player that he controls that he can do. He's not going to send, the way that he does business, he's not going to let him go and fight Devin Haney, on the zone, or pay Devin Haney a substantial amount of money to come there and fight him. He's not going to let him go fight Tank, even though that would be a big fight. He would rather do a fight in-house where he controls both sides, where no matter who wins, he wins, basically, and he controls everything. That's how he likes to do things. Even if to the outside world, this fight over here or that fight over there is a much bigger fight. This is how he does business. That's why I always say, hey, Lomachenko versus Tank never happened. Teofimo versus Tank, it's not going to happen. Regardless of what this man is saying, he would never set up those fights, because that's not how he does business. We see with this lawsuit going on with Terrence Crawford. He's, basically saying, hey, this guy never put any kind of real, foot forward to get me any of these big fights. And I've said that a million times before too, because that's not how he does business. So when it comes to, Shakur Stevenson and him getting a big fight, yes, I can absolutely see him, doing this fight with Lomachenko. Lomachenko is getting paid. He gets paid a lot of money. Lomachenko gets paid $2-3 million a fight. He gets paid a lot of bread. Even in the last couple of years, he's only made, I think, like maybe $6 million less than Terrence Crawford. So they've been paying him a substantial amount of money, and they've been putting a lot of promotion behind him, a lot of push behind him, and he just never turned out to be what they wanted him to be. They wanted him to be the superstar. They wanted him to turn out to be, let's say, a pay-per-view star, somebody that you could make a substantial amount of money off the gate, somebody that you can make a substantial amount of money off pay-per-views. They wanted him to be that kind of star, that kind of superstar, and he never became that. He was a unified champion, had two of the belts. He was going to fight for 3 belts, went up against Teofimo Lopez, a young kid, basically a prospect, kid that has less than 20 fights, and he took an L in that fight. He took his second loss. And he's had a couple of fights after that now, but, what can Bob Arum give him? Bob Arum's not going to pay Kambosos a substantial amount of money. If Kambosos fights Devin Haney wins and becomes undisputed and has all 4 belts, he's not going to pay Devin. And he's not going to have Lomachenko go out there to the zone for a fight where Lomachenko loses, and he's just, you just basically lost a fighter. He's not going to do that. He's going to put himself into a situation where, regardless of what happens, he ends up on top. Major fights, he keeps them in-house. So it makes sense. It's kind of almost a time now to get rid of some of these fighters. Terrence Crawford, that was getting paid 4 or 5 million a fight, 4 million plus a fight, to fight on regular pay-per-view, on regular television, or on ESPN Plus. That's a lot of money to pay somebody to do that. A lot of money, especially somebody who's not generating any major pay-per-view money or major gates. You know, when it comes to Lomachenko's, it becomes the same thing. You're paying this guy what, $3 million a fight? You know, it's time, and he's in his mid 30s, and it's basically in his mid 30s now. It's time to get rid of him as well. You know, because of Bob Arum, the way he does things, he has a budget. This is the budget, and he's trying to stay in this budget. He's trying to take a certain portion of money. He's trying to, pay off his fighters, and then take the rest of this bread that's been given to him by ESPN or whoever it might be. And he's gotten a lot. He got a lot of new fighters, a lot of new young fighters, and he's trying to cultivate those fighters and help them progress and grow, and hopefully be able to get the viewerships and everything that he wants. And you look at somebody like a Shakur, that's basically the new Terrence Crawford. You can build him back into basically that. So I 100% can see this fight happening. I think the only question is going to be, is this going to be a situation where Lomachenko is having to come down to 130 pounds to fight against Shakur Stevenson, or is this a situation where Shakur is going to have to go up to 135 pounds? But regardless of what it might be, he's going to have to do whatever it is that he has to do. And people are just screaming about this guy being top 5, being a pound for pound best fighter and all this other stuff. It shouldn't be a big issue because he's a big kid. We've seen Tank fighting at 130, going to 135, going to 140, going back down to 135, going down to 130, coming back up to 135. We've seen him do all this stuff. So these other guys are supposedly so great, they should be able to do the same things that he's been doing as well. So I 100% can see it happening. Basically it's like a changing of the guard, I guess you could say. Changing of the guard. And it's a big fight that they can do, what with Top Rank would consider a big fight against those two fighting each other. So I definitely 100% could see it happening. Don't think it has anything to do with what's going on with Terrence Crawford in that lawsuit whatsoever. That's just another day for Top Rank and another day for Bob Arum. And this is the path that Shakur Stevenson's going on, and he made it clear that when it comes to the Terrence Crawford thing, he ain't got nothing to do with that. He's focused on himself, and he's focused on his career. And that's it. And he's cool where he's at. And I hear him speaking out a lot of names, Felton, speaking out, what's it called? Showtime, Primetime, whatever the hell that kid, Colbert, whatever he calls himself, speaking out, Gervonta Tank Davis. He's naming all these fighters, it's something kind of familiar, what, Terrence Crawford used to do, fights he's never going to get, so whatever decision that he's making, that's fine, but he's going to have to be content and okay with the space that he's in. He has to understand that when these other guys are doing these big, huge, massive events, they're doing pay-per-views, they're doing high gates as Ennis comes up, as Tank continues to grow, Felton continues to grow. He just needs to, understand that, hey, you're not going to be part of that party. You're in a whole completely different house, and daddy ain't laying you out to play. So you're going to have to be okay with that. But we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks. We'll see if that gets confirmed, see if I'm right on that, if I'm wrong, and we'll see what happens. But if the fight that he's talking about does come to fruition, I think that's what it's going to be. It's going to be him against Lomachenko. Well, who knows where or when. Hopefully it's in the New York area. That'd be nice. But we'll see. But for now, like, subscribe, share. I'm out.